So usually when someone asks you to introduce yourself, you say your name, your nationality, maybe what you do for a living, and so on. In my case, when I'm asked to introduce myself, the first thing that comes to my mind after my name is a full-time war survivor. In 2011, I was 18 years old at that time. The revolution started in Libya. And like Tunisia and Egypt, the revolution in Libya quickly turned to a bloody war. When the war reached my city, Tripoli, I decided to volunteer to work at the local hospital because there was a shortage in the staff who didn't make it to the hospital due to the ongoing fighting. My experience at the hospital was striking for one reason. When I started volunteering, I thought I'm going to meet the victims of the war. The typical victims that we see in the media outlets, which is mostly a young man from the front lines who was injured because this person was fighting. However, the first patient I met was an old man who was injured on his way to the grocery store to buy food for his family one evening by an airstrike. Few days after I started working at the hospital, the man passed away. I still remember his young son crying and asking a very critical question. What did my dad do to them? And he was referring to the fighting parties. After leaving the hospital, I realized that my volunteering time is not enough. I need to do more. We need to do more. And I took it upon myself to work day and night to make sure that other people do not go through the same experience and to promote peace. However, I realized I cannot do that alone. So I co-founded an organization called Together We Build It. And as you can see from our name, our core belief is that everyone has a role to play in peace building, despite of age, gender, ethnicity, political beliefs, etc. At the Together We Build It organization, we do three main things. First, we work with local communities and activists in local communities to build up their capacity and encourage them to take an action for peace and reject violence. We advocate for the role of women and young people in formal peace-building processes, be it on a national level or an international level. And my favorite part of the work we do is conducting consultations with local groups on the ground, groups who don't have access to national and international decision makers, and make sure that their voices are heard and taken into account. Since 2011 until this very day, I've been working almost every day promoting peace and encouraging other people to reject violence. However, and unfortunately, Libya is still undergoing extreme forms of violence until the minute I'm speaking right now. But it's not only Libya. The world in general seems to be perceptive to more violence. We live in a world where there are so many people who have been traumatized by wars and airstrikes to an extent that every time they hear a thunder strike, they fear it's an airstrike. I'm one of these people. And I guess you have a lot of healing to do around the world. We live in a world where rain and snow are limited to their seasons, while wars and conflicts go all year round. We live in a world where people fleeing conflicts, searching for a peaceful life, drown in the Mediterranean Sea. We live in a world where young activists like myself, war survivors like myself, who has been working for years to promote peace, are considered extremists and potential terrorists just because of our passport and national identity. I have so many wrong things that I could have listed up to you today, but I think you get my point. What is missing? What is happening? Before the revolution started in Libya, or maybe I should say the war started in Libya, I had an abstract perception about violence and wars. I've seen violent scenes in the media from Afghanistan to Somalia to Iraq, and I always thought of wars and conflicts as a natural disaster that will never hit home. Until one day, it did in 2011, and until this day, we're not able to recover from it. So despite all the work that I'm doing, that all of these many people are doing, and despite the enormous experience the international community claims to have when it comes to peace building, why is peace still absent? Why there is no peace in Libya, why there is no peace in Mali, why there is no peace in Afghanistan and Yemen, and the list goes on. In my opinion, what has been missing for so long is the experience and perspective of the ordinary citizens who live these wars on a daily basis. The people who are resilient, the people who knows how to bring on peace. If world leaders are serious about bringing peace in anywhere around the world, they need to understand few things. First, people are not born violent. People are born into violence. People who live in war zones countries, violence for them is not normal. Violence for them is not acceptable. And if they want to take an action to actually support peace in Africa or any other continent, then the next time they hold a peace round table, they need to ensure that it's not only the fighting parties who are sitting in this table. They need to make sure that people from all walks of life in these war zone countries has a voice and has opinion to deliver to them. Usually when I'm asked to speak at events like this, I will talk about what we do at the organization, how we do it. But I think what I want to focus on today is the why. Why we do the things we do. My 16-year-old sister, Sajida, has the perfect answer for this. I'm quoting her. She said, "I'm no longer okay with hearing innocent people die because of hate, refugee kids starving to death, freezing to death, and continue living my life normally. I will fast every Thursday in solidarity with innocent people who are suffering from war and conflict. I will fast in solidarity with kids struggling with poverty. I will fast because I care. I will fast for peace to protest violence, hate, and discrimination." My 16-year-old sister decided to fast every Thursday just to show that she cares. Since she started fasting, she had more than 300 people, teenagers at her age, joining her, which is a group in the society who's usually excluded from any peace work. As Maud mentioned, I had the privilege to work with Kofi Annan for the past 3 years. I first met Mr. Annan in 2016, and the last thing he said in our first meeting, "Please don't let me down," referring to our work when it comes to peace and security. We're gathered here today to honor his memory. If we really want to do that, then everyone who's leaving this room needs to make this promise to not let Mr. Kofi Annan down. Thank you.